So a couple days after the release of Crowth Zenith, I have this many pulls from opening up one entire case of Elite Trainer boxes. In today's video, we'll take a look at some of the prices and really ask the question, was it really worth opening an entire case of Elite Trainer boxes of Pokemon's newest set and the last one for the Sword and Shield era, Crowth Zenith? But before we do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we talk about Crowth Zenith, my pulls from opening up an entire case of Elite Trainer boxes, 100 Pokemon card packs. How'd I do? What the price is looking like, and is the price right? Now, of course, in today's video, we'll be discussing Pokemon trading card prices, and as always, there's a huge disclaimer to be put on those, especially in instances where it's so close, the video's release date, from the release date of the actual trading card game set. So, obviously, with that said, huge price disclaimer. The price you see today was captured as of a point in time. Obviously, in the future, when you're watching this video, whenever you may be watching this video, prices may be wildly different. So bear in mind that this is as of a point in time and will only be accurate literally when I pull this price data, and at no other time in the future when I could be off by a couple of pennies or a couple of hundreds of dollars. Who really knows with this market nowadays? Now, with all that said, of course, if you enjoyed today's content, definitely feel free to leave a like on the video. It helps bump me up in the algorithm and helps let me know that you guys like content like this. And hey, of course, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to become part of the Gengar Gang, see more analytic content just like this. But with all that said, let's jump right on into it. I'm just gonna kind of show you and walk you through everything I pulled. Now again, I opened up one case of Elite Trainer boxes. In case you don't know, every Elite Trainer box of Crowth Zenith contains 10 Pokemon card packs from the last Sword and Shield era expansion. Each pack, contains XYZ amount of cards. Realistically speaking, the only thing we really care about are the reverse rare and the rare slots, since that's where you're going to pull most of your hits from. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I opened up 10 ETBs, so that means I opened up 100 packs, and again, that's going to be your standard case of Elite Trainer boxes. So they come 10 ETBs per one case. Each ETB contains 10 packs, so 100 packs in total. Now, from that, I ended up pulling 63 hits. So, not necessarily the worst possible number to pull from. It works out to be about, one hit per every 2 packs, which, is actually pretty good. The exact number, of course, will be on screen, but I'm just going to do some light rounding here on the video. Now, I'm just going to kind of page through these super quickly in kind of logical order. So the first set of hits that I want to talk about are these really cool reverse holographic energies. So these are the ones that you pull from the reverse slot. They are not rare, they are not numbered, so do take note of that right where my thumb is. In the lower left hand section of the card, note that these are nothing special. These are similar to the ones that you would have gotten in sets like Hidden Fates. These are similar to the ones that you would have gotten just from your regular slot. So yeah, these are reverse slot cards, really cool. It is kind of I guess depending on the case, either good or bad when you pull these, because pulling this guarantees that you're not getting anything from the trainer gallery, but at the same time, these cards are pretty cool and they only come around so often. For the case of my analysis today, and again throughout the video, you'll see some charts, you'll see some graphs pop up on screen as I kind of walk you through some of the referential data. But I didn't even include these in my analysis today. Usually by the time all is said and done, these are going to be worth a few pennies. So, they are cooler than regular energy cards, but they're not really worth that much more than, something like this, where it's like, these are pennies, these might be a couple more pennies. So honestly, nothing special there. I didn't include this in the 63 hits that I got because at the end of the day, they're just basic energy cards, but I did want to include them as kind of a nice little shout out there. Next up, I'll show you some of the grass type cards that I got. So I ended up getting 2 Leafeon Vs and 1 Leafeon V-Star. Nothing really, too spectacular here. This is a $4 card, apparently, as of the date that I pulled this data. All data is as of the Monday after Crowth Zenith's release, so obviously that is a very volatile time. It's not release day or pre-release prices, but it's pretty close to release day, and I assume it's going to go down over time. But yeah, so I did get some duplicates. Duplicates I actually found were one of the big issues that I had in opening up an ETB case. It's to be expected with some of the more chill stuff, like some of the stuff from the regular set, but what's funny is that I actually also ended up getting a ton of duplicates in other areas, so you're actually going to see that right now. One of the things I did note, if you're a fan of the channel, I actually did 50 packs as an opening on Saturday, and you can go check that video out anytime you want. The other 50 packs I actually opened off screen because I'm pretty sure I ran out of things to say, so I didn't want to embarrass myself and just keep opening packs and have nothing to say. But I, funny enough, did end up start hitting some pretty interesting pulls in the other 50 packs. So one of those hits is this Charizard V-Star, I think, and definitely I can tell you I pulled 3 Radiant Charizards. So interestingly enough, I did pretty well in terms of Pokemon cards because, yeah, I got 3 Radiant Charizards out of the 10 ETBs. I did also end up pulling an Eternatus Radiant, so you'll see that a little bit later on in the video, but that's just a good example of, you know, how they seed these Radiant cards, and the Charizard is obviously super sick. I believe this card at the time I pulled the price was $13.91. So these are actually some pretty expensive trading cards. The benefit of something like this is that it does add up. This Charizard, by the way, also deserves a special mention. The V-Star was $10.17. So, you know, right here alone, you've got like $50 in value. I did end up doubling up on Simisear Vs, and then of course there is a Simisear V-Star. For me, the most important thing is just filling out my binder, so it's a lovely thing when I can just, you know, check off a few boxes and kind of fill out a nice binder very well, I think. Next up is a Rotom V-Star, so again, just a nice matching pair that I can just plunk in to my binder and just not have to worry about it anymore. And then I did pull a Zeraora V as well. Next up is the Psychic Pokemon, so I got the Mew Fusion Strike as well as a Hatterene VMAX. From the Steel-type Pokemon, I didn't do that well actually with the Zacian and Zamazentas. For those of you who don't know, there's a V-Star, so, you know, I was hoping I could kind of fill out that portion of the binder as well, but all I got for the Steel-type Pokemon was this particular card. Next up are the Dragon-type Pokemon, and this is one area that I did pretty well in. So I got 2 Rayquaza regulars, I got 2 VMAXs, and in case you missed it, go check out the short as well as the first few seconds of the opening. Literally, my first pack was one of the best packs that, like, distinctly sticks out in my head. I got a Duraludon, and then here's that Radiant Eternatus that I was mentioning. So all in all, I got 4 Radiant Pokemon cards out of a pack of 10 ETBs. You know, I guess there's like a 1 in 10, like a 4 in 10 chance, or about a 40% chance that you're gonna end up pulling one of those, at least according to my average opening. Next up, I have a Professor's Research and then a Friends in Hisui. So honestly, nothing too crazy. I did note in a bunch of the different commentary videos that I did that there are some, you know, they're not that many trainer cards to pull. This is a set similar to Hidden Fates in that, you know, they kind of save it for the special set. So you'll get like 4 or 5 trainer full arts that you could pull from the regular set. It does make for some really fun packs when you're opening them up, but obviously nothing too insane, nothing too crazy. Professor Rowan ends up being about 150, ends up being about $5.03. The Friends in Hisui, and I do think there's an argument to be made here, but it's a $16 card, at least of the time that I pulled this data. So I think that card might be slightly overvalued. I think if anything, it's going to be one of the cards that kind of drops in value. But then again, it does have a waifu on it, so please stay tuned. And lastly, from the main part of the main set are these 3 really cool texture, hollow, rare energy cards. So these guys have actually kind of stood out on their own, and they're kind of like their own really cool cards and listed items on different set lists. So this is actually pretty cool. Again, if you don't know, the set actually contains numbered variants of these cards. So this is actually number 155 of 159, and I pointed out in the main video, but each of them is a printed, stamped, and textured version of the card. So you can see here you've got the dark energy kind of embossed in there, and they're really, really cool. So these are really, really cool. As cool as they are, however, you're looking at about $4.08, $3.27, and no sale data found at the time that I went looking. So interestingly enough, not really that impressive in terms of their difficulty to pull versus actual value. However, I do think these are a great pickup even early on, even during just the initial days of set release. It's really cool that they're actually that cheap. You could actually, you know, pick up a nice binder set. They look really good together, so I would personally pick them up. Lastly but not least, and I know a big card that everyone is kind of excited about, is the Pikachu's secret rare card from the set. This is the English version of a very exclusive Japanese card. Unsurprisingly, this card is currently listed at $43.46 US, so I don't know if that price is going to fluctuate too terribly, at least in the short run. I think as more waves of product come out and more folks have a chance to get their hands on this card, this might end up being a $10 card. So if I were you, I would sell it now while it's still kind of hard to pull and still, you know, expensive. And then in the future, you can just kind of completely ignore and just pick up like 20 of these if you want for like the price of one of them right now. But honestly, at release, it's a reasonably expensive card. Super happy with my version. Definitely just going to my binder and calling it a day. However, if you pull multiple, now might be the time to sell a card like this. And then we move on to the trainer gallery section of the pulls. So obviously these are going to be a teeny tiny bit different. I'm actually going to just show you all of what I am calling the full art cards, and then we'll move into the textured cards. So that's the way that I'm kind of thinking about this, at least logically. It should be noted, most of these cards don't even breach like the $10 mark. Most of them won't even hit the $5 mark. So I'm just going to kind of fast roll some of these, but, you know, stop and appreciate the artwork too, right? I did pull the Lapras. A lot of people are a big fan of the Lapras. Of course, I had to pull 2 of them because, hey, why not? Here is that gorgeous Manaphy card, and you can see they really kind of layered in on the texture there. We've got a Lunatone, a Deoxys. I did note I'm a big fan of Deoxys. It was $3.69 at the time I pulled the data. Nice. However, you know, not the Deoxys everybody probably wants to pull. I've got a Soul Rock, and like I mentioned before in the analysis video, I think one of the things they're doing is they're just creating opportunities for a variety of cameo Pokemon to appear. So you'll notice that for most of these cards, there's usually just, you know, a Pokemon and then a few other Pokemon in there. So there's a Magnezone, you've got Magnemites, and you've got a Magneton there as well. We've got the beautiful Latias, and wouldn't you know it, I doubled up on that as well. We've got a Hisuian Goodra with a Starly, I believe, in the forefront, and yeah, there's another Goodra. We've got the Ditto card, which I am a huge fan of. Got a Dunsparce. I pulled this Bibarel, I'm pretty sure off camera, really cool card. And then we move into what I'm calling the full art cards. So these are the ones that combine together to create a nice large picture. I got 2 Riolus, I got a Bidoof, I got a Turtwig. We've got a Paris. I don't know why I find that Paris to be so cute, but if you play Pokemon Legends Arceus, you know the last thing that little monster is cute. I got another Paris because there's never just one of them. And then I got 2 Mareeps. So I believe I'm missing a few. I mean, I have to be missing a few of the Pokemon, at least the Poochyena, at least the Pikachu. But the cool gimmick with these, at least in the Japanese set, was that you could actually only pull them out of basically a God pack. So you got all the cards you needed in one. Over here in the English, they're just another card you could pull from the trainer gallery. So you kind of have to pull them one by one, and occasionally you're going to double up. And yeah, so again, none of these are incredibly valuable. Most of them are pretty chill in terms of price, which is actually a good thing if you're a collector here in the English TCG, as opposed to the Japanese TCG. And now, finally but not least, are the kind of big hits that I got, again, from one full case of Elite Trainer boxes. For these, I can kind of drill in on the prices a little bit more because there's fewer of them, and honestly, they're significantly valued enough that, yeah, might as well, right? So first up, we have this beautiful Simisear V-Star. In the opening that I did on YouTube, there were actually no V-Stars pulled. So ironically enough, I pulled no V-Stars in 50 packs, but the other 50 packs, or 5 ETBs, had some V-Stars in them. So it's kind of weird how that happened. I think it was just coincidence, but go figure. So the Simisear V-Star, it's worth $16.12 as of the date this data was pulled. Really cool card. I know a lot of people are big fans of, you know, just the general aesthetic of the card. Next up is a pretty big one. It's the Suicune V card. So the Suicune is actually worth $40.39. This is one of the cards I don't think is going to go down in value much. It's a beautiful card. It's obviously a fan favorite Pokemon, and honestly, I think it has the staying power to remain, if not even appreciate in value, depending on how difficult it is, quote unquote, to pull a card like this one. Next up is one of the lesser loved cards, but still pretty pricey. At $16.31, the Lumineon V. I personally think this is one of my favorite cards from the set from a pure artwork perspective. You've got some really cool Pokemon cameos in there, and then it's just a really cool vibe for a card, in my opinion. Next up, we've got a Raikou. I actually ended up pulling 2 of these. So one in, actually 2 in one opening, both in that YouTube video that I released a few days ago. Each of these is worth $27.88 at the time of the recording. Obviously, that puts me in a weird spot because I pulled the Raikou and I pulled the Suicune. Could have used an Entei here, but what can you do? Next up is a huge card to pull from the set. It's the Mewtwo V-Star. So apparently this card has a pretty wicked pull rate too, which I'm actually kind of surprised that I ended up pulling it. If you don't know, this is the card that is the kind of opposite art for the Charizard card from the Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. This card, and again, I'm not sure that this is going to be at all accurate by the time you're seeing this video, whoever you are, but this card was worth $85.59. So I think this is a pretty tough card to pull. I'm curious to see where this card goes. I really don't feel comfortable making a prediction because honestly I really couldn't tell you what's going to happen. It could be that the card, you know, just enters the general population and remains consistently hard to pull, or the opposite could happen and then this card's going to drop in value worse than a bad habit. But I really couldn't tell you. It's a beautiful card. I think it has the merits of a great artwork, fan favorite Pokemon, etc., etc. It will be super interesting, therefore, to watch where this card goes in terms of price trajectory. This Zacian V is worth $18.58, one of my favorite pulls from my opening of Elite Trainer boxes. This was a really cool, good-looking card to pull. And I'm very happy to have it. It looks really dope. Yeah, again, like they did it really, really well. And speaking of which, here is another one of my favorite cards from the set, the Darkrai V-Star card, currently worth $25.51. It's a good looking card. I think it has like a spooky aura about it, which is exactly what you want from this Pokemon, given its role and its involvement in some of like the Generation 4 games. So I think a card like this is pretty good, pretty spot on. I ended up doubling up on Hisuian Samurott Vs. So these are actually really cool cards. Currently worth about $10.39. You know, didn't necessarily see them being fan favorite or the most expensive cards from the set, but hey, nice that they're there. And then the last 2 cards were 2 full art trainer cards. So the Adama is worth $10.40. The Iridia is $29.59. The Adama I could definitely see going down in value. The Iridia, it depends how hard a card it is to pull, but there is an argument to be made here that it's a waifu card, and it will likely continue to increase in value, or at least be harder to decline in value than the opposite. So there is that. Be on the lookout for it. Just be mindful that that might be the way that that goes. Now, all things considered, some super quick analysis for you. As I mentioned, I ended up pulling 63 total hits, where a hit is defined as anything that is shiny cardboard that is not a regular or reverse holographic card. Interesting of note is that obviously I pulled a ton of duplicates, so I ended up pulling only 49 unique hits, meaning those 2 Raikus that I had, you have to take one away since one is technically a duplicate card, right? Technically, if I was filling out a binder, it's of no use to me because I already have one. The only thing I could really do is pick the better of the 2 if, for instance, one had better centering. Overall, however, as you can see on screen, the total value of all the cards that I pulled was $547.01. Now again, huge price disclaimer, that's not going to remain true. That's only true at the date that I pulled this information, and again, all this price data was sourced from TCG Player and is the Monday after Crowth Zenith released, which means there's a very good chance that by the time you are seeing this video sometime in the future, the prices are going to already drop. However, a couple of main observations that I have is that, hey, I hit that price point. 10 Elite Trainer boxes at MSRP is going to be $500, and ignoring tax for half a second, I'm already up $47 from a pure financial perspective. One thing that I thought was really interesting is, obviously, I had a ton of duplicate cards. And so what I did was I just kind of quickly analyzed how much of my $547 in pull value is actually explicitly related to duplicate cards, because again, those are cards that I could probably sell or trade and get other cards that I need. And so I did end up getting $90.69 in duplicate value. So realistically speaking, I'm probably too lazy to actually go on the internet and sell these cards. Realistically speaking, they're probably going to get stuck in the back of the binder, and that's going to be the end of it. However, in theory, I should go sell them, get my $90, and then go ahead and use that money to purchase other cards that I didn't pull or more product to open up. So in, I guess, its own unique weird way, there's a bit of a silver lining there. Some other last minute thoughts and ideas. Crowth Zenith looks to be super fun. I was pleasantly surprised in opening up a case of Elite Trainer boxes, how many cards I was able to pull. I basically completed the regular set in terms of regular cards. So now it's really just filling in a few V and V stars. So I was really happy because the set looks to be very well balanced. You can open up a pack and occasionally you'll be pleasantly surprised, and I think that's what makes for a great special set. It can't be punishingly tough to open like Evolving Skies, like Lost Origin, like any of those other sets where you're chasing after this one alternate art and it's just never going to show up for you because statistically it's impossible to pull the card or close to it. So it's really nice when you have a set like this you can open up, you can really enjoy, and there are some just great cards to pull, you know? And I found that the hits were coming consistently enough that it was really fun and really rewarding to be able to open up a good number of packs. I did also want to disclaim, this is just my experience with 100 packs. I know a lot of people post videos that, you know, go over hundreds of packs or thousands of packs even. And while I think there is value in that from a statistical probability point of view, at the end of the day, 5,000 packs is still technically defined as a random sample. It may still not be indicative of what you end up with. And honestly, most people are going to approach nowhere near that number of packs. So, you know, to say 5,000 packs, you know, it gives you a good average. However, what it doesn't do is represent your random sample of packs that you might get from opening up 2 Elite Trainer boxes. I think doing something like this is actually maybe judgmentally a little bit more valid as a approach, because for the most part, a lot of collectors out there aren't going to be streaming the opening of hundreds of packs. Instead, we're probably going to open up a few packs here and there of some sealed product here and there, and you might never even hit 100 packs. That means this experience may be more judgmentally representative of what your experience is going to look like. And personally, from my experiences and kind of looking and opening up 100 packs, I can tell you Crown Zenith is actually a pretty cool set. And it's a pleasant change of pace from some of the sets that we've seen recently and how awfully punishing they can be in terms of pull rates. But with all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. I appreciate your viewership as always, and if you like today's video, you like this type of content, and you want to see more of it, definitely feel free to consider subscribing to become part of the Gengar Gang. Other than that, I appreciate your viewership as always. You could have been anywhere on the internet, but you chose to spend some time with me, and that means the world. Let me know what your pull rates look like, and let me know if you have a particular card that you're chasing out of Crown Zenith. But other than that, thanks again for stopping by, and we will talk soon. Peace.